She said, "I can't date someone who's unemployed. You're a bum." On the day I lost my job, I replied, "You're right." Then I blocked her. 3 months later, she reached out asking for a loan. My new position as VP at her dream company made saying no even sweeter. I, 34 male, got laid off on a Thursday. Not fired, laid off. There's a difference, though my now ex-girlfriend didn't seem to think so. Quick context. I worked in product management at a mid-sized tech company for 6 years. Senior product manager, good salary, solid reputation. The company got acquired 8 months ago, and the new parent company decided to streamline operations. Translation, they gutted our entire product division because they already had their own team. 73 people lost their jobs that Thursday. I was one of them. It wasn't personal. It wasn't performance-based. It was just business. Cold, corporate, absolutely soul-crushing business. I found out at 10 a.m. By 11 a.m., I'd packed my desk into a sad little cardboard box. By noon, I was sitting in my car in the parking garage, staring at my phone, trying to figure out who to call first. I called my girlfriend. We'd been together for 14 months, met through a mutual friend, hit it off immediately, moved in together after 8 months. I thought we were solid. I thought she was my person. "Hey, what's up? I'm at lunch." "I got laid off." Silence. "Then what do you mean, laid off?" "The acquisition, they cut the whole product team. I'm out." More silence. Longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice had changed. Colder. More distant. "So you're unemployed?" "For now, yeah. But I've got a solid severance package. 4 months of salary plus benefits. And I've got savings. I'll find something." 4 months? That's it? That's actually pretty generous for a layoff. Most people got 2 months. But then what? What if you don't find something in 4 months? Then I'll keep looking. This isn't the end of the world. I've got a good resume, good connections. I'll be fine. She went quiet again. I could hear her breathing, could almost hear her thinking. "I need to go. We'll talk tonight." She hung up before I could respond. I spent the afternoon doing what you're supposed to do after a layoff, updating my LinkedIn, reaching out to former colleagues, making a list of companies I wanted to target. It sucked, but I was handling it. Or trying to. My girlfriend came home around 7 p.m. I'd made dinner, nothing fancy, just pasta with that vodka sauce she likes. Figured we could eat together, talk about next steps, maybe watch something mindless on Netflix. Normal couple stuff. She walked in, looked at the table, looked at me and said, "We need to talk." Nothing good ever follows those words. "I've been thinking about this all afternoon," she started, "and I don't think I can do this." Do what? This. Us. Dating someone who's unemployed. I stared at her. "I lost my job 8 hours ago. I know, and I'm sorry, but I've worked too hard to build the life I want, and I can't be with someone who's gonna drag me down." Drag you down? I got laid off. It happens. It's not like I got fired for stealing or something. It doesn't matter why. What matters is that you don't have a job. And honestly, you don't seem that upset about it. You're just sitting here making pasta like nothing happened. What should I be doing? Sobbing into a pillow. I'm trying to stay productive. You're acting like a bum, like this is just a vacation, like you don't even care that you just threw away 6 years of career building. Threw away. Like I'd chosen to get laid off. Like 73 people had collectively decided to throw away their careers. A bum. I didn't mean it like, you absolutely meant it like that. You called me a bum because I got laid off and didn't immediately have a mental breakdown. I'm just saying, I can't date someone who's unemployed. I have standards. My parents would never accept it. My friends would never let me hear the end of it. Do you know how embarrassing it would be to tell people my boyfriend doesn't have a job? What am I supposed to say when they ask what you do? How about, he's between roles, or he's exploring new opportunities like a normal person? That's just code for unemployed. Everyone knows that. So your concern isn't about me, my well-being, my career. It's about what you'll tell people at brunch. You're twisting my words. I'm repeating your words back to you. Embarrassing. For her, that was her concern. Not how I was feeling, not what I was going through, how it would look for her. Something in me just settled. Like the last piece of a puzzle clicking into place. I'd been ignoring red flags for months. The way she always had to have the nicest things. The way she talked about her coworkers who made less than her. The way she'd made me split dinner bills, down to the penny, even when I made almost twice her salary. This wasn't about the layoff. This was who she was. The layoff just made her show it. "You're right," I said. What? "You're right. You shouldn't date someone who's unemployed. You should be with someone who meets your standards. And clearly, I don't. That's not what I think you should pack a bag. Go stay with a friend or your parents for a bit. I'll box up your stuff and you can pick it up whenever." "Wait, you're kicking me out? I live here. The lease is in my name. You moved in with me and I'm asking you to leave. You can't just—" "I can, and I am." She stood there, mouth open, clearly not expecting this. She thought she'd have the power here. She thought I'd beg her to stay, promise to find a job immediately, grovel for her approval. Nope. "Fine, but don't come crawling back when you realize what you've lost." "I won't." She packed a bag, stuffing clothes in aggressively, muttering about how crazy and unstable I was being. "This is insane. You're throwing away 14 months because of one conversation. I'm ending a relationship with someone who sees me as a status symbol instead of a person. There's a difference." "Status symbol? I loved you. You loved what I represented. The job title, the salary, the lifestyle. The moment that was threatened, you were out the door." "That's not true. You literally said you can't date someone who's unemployed. Those were your exact words. What part of that suggests you loved me and not what I provided?" She didn't have an answer. She just kept packing. "You're going to regret this," she said at the door. "When you're still unemployed in 6 months, eating ramen and wondering where it all went wrong, you'll think about this moment. Maybe. Or maybe I'll be just fine, and you'll be the one with regrets. We'll see. Don't come crawling back when you realize what you've lost." "I won't." She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the pictures on the wall. I sat down at the dinner table with my now cold pasta and ate alone. It was the best meal I'd had in months. The apartment felt bigger, quieter, but in a good way, like I could finally breathe. Update 1, 6 weeks later. So the job search has been interesting. First, the good news: I'm not panicking. My severance is covering bills, my savings are untouched, and I've been treating the search like a full-time job. Networking, applying, interviewing, the whole routine. The market is rough right now, everyone knows that. But I've got a strong background and a solid network. By week 3, I had 2 promising leads. By week 5, I was in final rounds with both. Here's where things get weird though. One of the companies I was interviewing with is a major player in my industry. Not a startup, not a mid-tier. One of the companies. The kind of place where people build entire careers. The kind of place my ex always talked about wanting to work at. I knew she'd applied there twice before we met. Got rejected both times. She'd bring it up whenever she saw anything about them online. That should have been me. I would have been perfect there. They made a huge mistake. When the recruiter first reached out about this role, I almost laughed. Director of Product Strategy. 2 levels above my previous position. I assumed it was one of those spray and pray recruiter messages and almost deleted it, but I responded. Did the phone screen, then the first round, then the second, then the third. Each time, I expected to get cut. Each time I didn't. By week 5, I was in final rounds with the CEO. A role that reported directly to the C-suite. A role that, if I got it, would come with a VP title. I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends, not my family. I didn't want to jinx it. Meanwhile, my ex had been busy. The blocking hadn't stopped her. She'd found workarounds, mutual friends, a new email address, even a LinkedIn message from a blank profile that was obviously her. The messages followed a predictable pattern. Week 1, I think we both said things we didn't mean. Can we talk? Week 2, you're being really immature about this. Adults communicate. Week 3, everyone agrees you overreacted. My mom thinks you're having some kind of breakdown. Week 4, I deserve my stuff back. You can't just keep my things hostage. That's actually illegal, you know? I looked it up. I could call the police. Week 5, my mother wants to talk to you. She thinks there's been a misunderstanding. She always liked you. Don't you want to at least hear her out? Week 6, you're being really petty. Everyone at work thinks you're having some kind of mental breakdown. Is this really the person you want to be? Her stuff. Right? I'd boxed it all up within 2 days of her leaving. texted her before blocking that she could pick it up anytime. She never responded to that text. But now, 6 weeks later, suddenly her stuff was urgent, and I was holding it hostage. I had a mutual friend act as intermediary, told him she could pick up the boxes from my building's lobby on Saturday between noon and 2 p.m. I'd leave them with the front desk, no contact necessary. She showed up, got her boxes. But apparently that wasn't enough. She's upset you wouldn't see her in person. The friend told me later. She called me a bum and said she couldn't date an unemployed person. Why would I want to see her? She says she didn't mean it. She was in shock. She was in shock? My job got eliminated. What was she in shock about? He didn't have an answer for that. The following week, I got the call. The CEO loved me. The team loved me. The offer was coming. When I saw the number on the offer letter, I had to sit down. VP of Product Strategy. Compensation package that was nearly double what I'd been making before. Equity. Bonus structure. The works. I accepted immediately. My first day was scheduled for 2 weeks out. I spent those 2 weeks decompressing, setting up my new work-from-home office, and not thinking about my ex at all. That changed when she found out. Update 2, 3 months after the breakup. Someone told her. I still don't know who, but someone told her. Maybe it was a mutual friend who saw my LinkedIn update. Maybe she'd been stalking my profile from a fake account. Doesn't matter. The point is, she found out I'd landed at her dream company. As a VP, making what I can only assume she imagined was a lot of money. The first sign was a message request on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize. Just a "Hey, is this you?" kind of message. I ignored it. Then an email to my personal address. "Congratulations on the new role. Can we talk?" I didn't respond to that either. Then, exactly 3 months after she'd called me a bum and walked out, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I was expecting a call from my apartment building about a package. "Hello?" "Oh my God, you actually picked up." Her voice, instantly recognizable, instantly unwelcome. "How'd you get this number? I blocked you." "I borrowed a friend's phone. Look, I just wanted to say congratulations. Seriously, I always knew you'd land on your feet. You called me a bum." I was upset. I was scared. I handled it badly. I know that now. "Great. Is that all?" "Actually, I was hoping we could meet for coffee. There's something I wanted to talk to you about." Every instinct told me to hang up, but there was a petty part of me, a part I'm not proud of, that wanted to see what she wanted to watch her ask for something she couldn't have. "Fine. Coffee. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., that cafe on the corner near my old building. I'll be there." The next day I showed up 5 minutes early. She was already there, which surprised me. She'd never been early for anything in the entire time I'd known her. She looked different, tired, like she hadn't been sleeping well. Her usual designer bag was nowhere to be seen, just a basic purse I didn't recognize. "Thanks for meeting me," she said as I sat down. "What do you want?" "Straight to business, okay?" She took a breath. "I heard you're at the company now. VP of Product." "I am." "That's amazing, really. I always said you were talented. You said I was a bum. I was wrong. I was stupid. I panicked. I didn't respond, just waited." "Here's the thing," she continued, fidgeting with her coffee cup. "I'm in a bit of a situation. Financially," and there it was. The real reason for this meeting. My company did layoffs last month. I wasn't cut, but they eliminated bonuses for the year and reduced everyone's salary by 15%. And I had some expenses that I was counting on that bonus to cover. "What kind of expenses?" "Credit cards, mostly. I may have gotten a little carried away after we broke up. Retail therapy, you know? And my car payment. And my student loans came out of deferment. And there was this trip I'd already put a deposit on. It's just a lot all at once." "A trip? You went on a trip while in credit card debt?" "It was supposed to be with the girls. I couldn't just cancel. The deposit was non-refundable anyway." "So you went on a vacation you couldn't afford, and now you want me to bail you out? You're making it sound worse than it is." "I'm just repeating what you told me. The point is, I need help, and you're the only person I know who could actually help me." "What about your parents, the ones whose opinion mattered so much when I got laid off? They've already helped as much as they can, and they're not exactly thrilled with me right now." "Why not?" She looked away. "Because they think I made a mistake. With you. With everything." Smart people, your parents. I was hoping maybe you could help me out. Just a loan. Just until I get back on my feet. I know we didn't end well, but we were together for over a year. That has to mean something. She wanted money. Of course she wanted money. The woman who dumped me for being unemployed was now asking the employed version of me for a loan. How much are we talking? Her eyes lit up. She thought I was considering it. $8,000 would get me completely current on everything. But even $5,000 would make a huge difference. $8,000. I know it's a lot, but I'd pay you back. With interest. Whatever you think is fair. I'll sign a contract if you want. I'll put up collateral. What collateral? You just told me you're broke. I don't know. My laptop, my jewelry. Your laptop is worth maybe $200, and I've never seen you wear jewelry worth more than $50. Why are you being so mean about this? I'm not being mean. I'm being realistic, something you apparently have trouble with. I took a sip of my coffee. Let the silence stretch. Watched her squirm. The answer is no. The hope drained from her face like water through a sieve. What? No, I'm not giving you money. Not $8,000, not $5,000, not $100. But you can afford it now. You're a VP. You probably make more in a month than I make in 6. And I earned every penny of it. While you were calling me a bum, I was networking. While you were going on vacation you couldn't afford, I was interviewing. While you were maxing out credit cards on retail therapy, I was building something. This isn't luck. This is work. And I'm not going to subsidize your poor decisions just because we used to date. I could afford it before. I had savings, remember? Savings that you didn't think mattered because I was just a bum without a job. That was different. How? How was it different? I had money in the bank. I had prospects. I had a severance package, and you walked out because being unemployed was embarrassing. Now you're underwater on credit cards and car payments, and you want me to bail you out? I made a mistake. Yeah, you did. Multiple mistakes, sounds like. The credit cards, the vacation, the retail therapy, and the biggest mistake of all, thinking people only have value when they're employed and successful. That's not what I think. It's exactly what you think. It's what you said to me. You can't date someone who's unemployed. I'm a bum. Standards, parents, embarrassment. Any of this ringing a bell? She was crying now. Actually crying. Tears rolling down her face, mascara starting to run. Please. I don't know what else to do. My credit is going to be ruined. I might have to declare bankruptcy. Do you know what that would do to my life? Then maybe you should think about that the next time you call someone a bum for circumstances beyond their control. Maybe you should think about it before you max out credit cards on things you don't need. Maybe you should think about it before you go on vacation when you're already in debt. You're being so cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference, something you never learned. I stood up and dropped a $5 on the table to cover my coffee. Good luck with everything, genuinely, but don't contact me again. I left. She was still crying when I walked out. I didn't look back. Update 3. 5 months later, final update. This is probably my last post about this. Things have settled into a new normal, and I don't think about her much anymore. The VP role has been everything I hoped it would be. Challenging, rewarding, the kind of work that makes you excited to wake up on Monday mornings. My team is great. The company culture is great. I feel like I'm finally in a place where I belong. But since everyone keeps asking for updates on my ex, here's what I know. After our coffee meeting, she didn't take the rejection well. I found out later from mutual friends that she'd spent the next few weeks telling anyone who would listen that I was vindictive and holding a grudge and punishing her for one mistake. The narrative didn't land the way she hoped. Too many people knew the real story, that she'd called me a bum and dumped me for being unemployed, then came crawling back for money when I became successful. The math didn't math, as they say. Someone told me she'd tried to spin it as he was always emotionally unavailable, and the layoff just revealed who he really was. But anyone who'd actually been around us knew that was garbage. I'd been the supportive one in that relationship. I'd driven her to job interviews, helped her practice for presentations, talked her through anxiety spirals at 2 a.m. All she'd given me when I needed support was an insult and a door slam. Her financial situation got worse before it got better. The credit card companies don't care about your excuses. Neither do car finance companies. She ended up selling her car, the one she'd been so proud of, always posting pictures of it, making comments about how it showed she'd made it, to settle some of the debt. Bought a 12-year-old Honda Civic with the leftover cash. The irony wasn't lost on me. When we were together, she'd made fun of people who drove older cars, called them broke and sad. Once she'd literally said, "I could never date a guy who drove something like that. It's like advertising that you've given up on life." Now she was one of them. Her apartment situation changed too. She'd been living alone in a nice one-bedroom in a trendy neighborhood, always bragging about her aesthetic and her curated space and how important it was to invest in your living environment. After the salary cut and the financial mess, she couldn't afford it anymore. Had to break her lease, eat the penalty, and move back in with her parents at 32 years old. The same parents whose opinion she'd been so worried about when I lost my job. The same parents she'd told would never accept her dating someone unemployed. I heard she had to explain to them why she wasn't with me anymore. Why she'd ended things with the guy who'd just been named VP at one of the most prestigious companies in our industry. Why she was 32, living in her childhood bedroom, driving a beat-up Honda, while her ex was thriving. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. Her mother apparently said something along the lines of, "We raised you better than this," and her father just stopped talking to her for a week. Not my problem. But satisfying to hear about, I won't lie. The best part came about 2 months after our coffee meeting. She applied to my company. I didn't know until HR flagged it. Turns out, when you're a VP, you get notified about applicants to your division. Her resume came across my desk along with a batch of others. I stared at it for a long time. Her name, her work history, her objective statement that talked about how passionate she was about the company's mission and how she'd always dreamed of contributing to our team. I remembered all the times she'd complained about the company not hiring her, how she'd stalked their LinkedIn page, how she'd made bitter comments whenever she saw someone from there speaking at a conference or getting press coverage. That should have been me. Now here she was, applying again, to a department I ran. I didn't do anything about it. Didn't torpedo her application, didn't put in a good word, didn't flag it for special attention either way. I just let the process play out. Sent it along to my recruiting coordinator like any other resume and removed myself from the evaluation process entirely. She didn't make it past the initial screen. Her experience wasn't quite right for the role she'd applied for, marketing coordinator, entry level. The same thing that had gotten her rejected twice before was still true. She wasn't qualified. Her resume was fine but unremarkable. Her cover letter was generic. There were 15 other candidates with better credentials, more relevant experience, stronger portfolios. The rejection email went out automatically. Just another form letter to another unqualified candidate. Thank you for your interest in joining our team. After careful consideration, we've decided to move forward with other candidates whose experience more closely aligns with our current needs. We wish you the best in your career journey. She'd probably never even know I'd seen her resume, or maybe she would, and she'd spend years wondering if I'd blackballed her. Either way, it wasn't my problem. The funny thing is, even if I'd wanted to hire her, even if I'd put my thumb on the scale in her favor, it wouldn't have mattered. She genuinely wasn't qualified. The same entitlement that made her think she deserved a job there was the same entitlement that had kept her from doing the work to actually become qualified. She wanted the title, the prestige, the Instagram-worthy employment, without the years of grinding that the other applicants had put in. Part of me wonders if she suspects, if she thinks I sabotaged her somehow. If she's out there telling people that I blacklisted her from her dream company. The truth is much simpler and much more frustrating for someone like her. I didn't have to do anything. She wasn't good enough on her own merits. She never was. She just couldn't accept that. As for me, I've been doing okay. The initial anger has faded into something more like pity. She's a person who measures her own worth by external metrics. Job titles, salaries, brand names, what other people think. When those metrics are good, she feels good. When they're bad, she panics and makes terrible decisions. I used to be attracted to her confidence. Now I realize it was never confidence at all. It was just vanity with better marketing. I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, just seeing what's out there. I'm taking my time, being more intentional about what I want. Someone who sees me as a person, not a paycheck. Someone who'd stick around when things get hard, not run at the first sign of trouble. The irony of the whole situation isn't lost on me. She dumped me for being unemployed because she thought it reflected badly on her. Now she's unemployed. Well, underemployed. Took a lower-paying job after the salary cuts got worse, living with her parents, driving a beater car, and probably wondering where it all went wrong. Meanwhile, the bum she walked out on is thriving. I didn't plan any of this as revenge. I didn't scheme or plot. I just kept moving forward while she stood still, waiting for the world to give her what she thought she deserved. The world doesn't work that way. You get what you work for, what you earn, what you show up for. She never understood that. Maybe she never will. For everyone asking about advice, trust your instincts. When someone shows you who they are, when they call you a bum on the worst day of your life, when they make your crisis about their embarrassment, believe them. Don't make excuses. Don't give second chances to people who didn't deserve the first one. And if you're going through a layoff right now, hang in there. The right opportunity will come. It did for me, it will for you. Just make sure the people in your corner deserve to be there when it does. Peace out. Thanks for following along.